Greetings everyone. In this short video, I'm going to try to show you the kind of problems you're going to have when you're using numeric variables. And I'm going to try to make just a single point or two just in a few minutes here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to write a Java program using an int, which stands for integer. Now remember that all variables and all numeric variables are not created equally. For example, they could have different ranges. There could be there are what are called real numbers, which are numbers with decimals in them, and there's what are called integral numbers, which are whole numbers. Now, again, a whole number would be like if you were looking at the number of doors in the room. There'd be like, 1, 2, 3, or 4. There wouldn't be like half of one. And real numbers would be something with a decimal, like your salary or maybe even your age, if you're 29.5 years old. So I'm going to show you a couple of errors that you're going to run into that you're going to have, you're going to see that are going to be pretty common until you start to get some experience behind you about what the different numbers can fit in these different variables. So I'm going to illustrate that by writing a simple program. I'm going to declare one integer on line 5 called li salary, and I'm going to set li salary equal to 25,000. Simple program, and I'm going to take li salary and I'm going to write it back out to system.out.println. So you should see it at the very end. A little bit of a hiccup there. Okay, don't panic. So let me take li salary and I'm going to put it on line 7. A very simple program. I'm just declaring a variable, I'm setting it, and it's printing it out. So this should work okay. So happy path. I click on execute. 25,000. Duh, that's exactly what I'd expect to happen. But now let's change this number. Right now, 25,000 is called an integral because it's an integer. There's no decimals or fractions in it. Now that's going to become very important. Also, the way that we format this number is going to be important too. Like notice if I put a comma in there, I'm going to get an error. So we can't use anything else, any other special characters except just the number itself. So 25,000 seems to work, but I'm going to change this and say, how about put in 50 cents? So 25,050 cents. I'm going to get this error in here. Well, how could this be, right? It's a number, but look at this error message in here. You're getting a lossy conversion from double to int. That is a fancy way of saying, I don't know what this number is. You're telling me it's an integer, but I'm looking at it, the 25,050 cents, and it's not an integer. It's actually a data type called a double, which you might not know about yet. But anyway, so integers are only for whole numbers, and I'll turn it back to 25,000, and it seems to work just fine. So what I'd like you to do is while you're working with data types, I want you to kind of do experiments like this to see what works and what doesn't work, because a lot of times by you looking at some errors, you can kind of debug this yourself. Now what I did is I made the salary like insanely big. I'm going to click on execute, and you're also going to get an error message again. The number is too large. Now what this means is yes, it's an integer, but it's too big to fit into this variable. Again, Google's your friend. You could find out what other kind of variable that you could use for that. I'm trying to get you guys to be good detectives. So let's try this experiment. I'm going to put li salary equals negative 25,000. That seems to work too. So what have you learned? You've learned that integers are whole numbers and they can be too big or they can be too small. And also you learn that you can't use special formatting characters such as commas or dollar signs. So it can be negative, but it can't be too big negative. So I'm going to go back to 25,000 and everything should work. Now I know I went through this quickly because I'm assuming that you're watching this. You could stop, you could rewind it, and then you could kind of look at this, look at these examples again. So you don't got to hear me kind of like lecture around this and give you the roundabout picture, which I kind of like to do. I wanted to get right to the point and show you some techniques that you can use in testing variables and getting to see, what error messages that you get. And again, Google's your friend. You can look up these error messages and hopefully you'll learn how to fix them yourself. Thank you. Have a good day.